you and to us also.
Sure.
Yeah. And then especially about the topic, people were telling very good, they gave very good feedback about the topics actually.
Yes. Yesterday's session was very, very nice one.
Useful for us, I believe. Yeah. Just about 2-3 minutes.
So I'll just unmute people and give them that choice.
Yes.
And you have to tell us when to start because Mr. Ganesh is ready and everything is ready, right? Okay, so dear audience,
Yes.
thank you so much for being today, day 2, right? So what I'll do is I'm going to give them an opportunity to unmute yourself. First of all, I always believe last night was the last night for many people, but today you and me, we are alive. I repeat again, last night was the last night for many people in the world due to whatever reason it is, not just COVID. But today you and me, we're alive. Our eyes are open. We are taking fresh air. We are not on ventilator. Always thank God for that. If you are alive today, there is a purpose. There has to be a purpose in our life. All right. And just to tell you a small statistics, some of my batchmates are in the US now. They're into psychiatry, they're into John Hopkins med school and all that. They're telling me yesterday in a small interview, Sam, more than COVID cases in the US, the depression cases are increasing exponentially, not incrementally, exponentially. Such a top country, such a wealthy country, such a well-to-do country, if that can happen there. But we need to thank God that all of us are cool, all of us are fine. We need to thank God for organizations like WHO, people from there who are coming with a mission. So telling all this, let's just now quickly, anyone who feels they want to do a little recap of yesterday, we had from Gap from Japan and Dr. Sam from Kenya. Anyone who would like to unmute yourself and just quickly give a brief so that Mr. Ganesh Ram can take it from there. Any participants, you can unmute yourself. You have the access. Or I need to call for. Okay? The choice is yours. First, you can have your choice. Otherwise, see, in life, there are only 2 starts. Either self-start or kick-start. In organization, if
you're saying a democratic way of selecting. I like it.
Yeah. See, either in the organization, you should have a self-start to do something new. If you don't do self-start and do new initiatives, you will get a kickstart in the same bike. Gaadi to chalna hai bhai. You're getting the point? Either self-start or a kickstart. And kickstart comes from top to bottom. Self-start goes from bottom to top. Choice is yours. I gave a big management theory in one statement. Okay, come on. Dr. B. Divya from Auxilium, Tamil Nadu. Are you there? Unmute yourself.
Hi, yes. Good evening, Sam, sir.
Good evening, madam. You're from Tamil Nadu all the way to Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
Thank you so much. A quick recap of yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday the session was really, very informative. And of course, what do you say? That is, it kindles our interest to learn more and more. And the speakers were excellent. So, we got to learn more from them. So, like, how can leadership be, and how to, make us stable, and how to identify the inner skill that we have, and how to promote that, and so on. So, this is a need of the hour for every faculties, not only for faculties, even for a common man. So this is very, very essential. So I found it very interesting, and it was an excellent session, sir.
Okay, Dr. B. Divya, only one simple question.
Yes.
These are looking excellent, but what about your action? What is that one thing you want to change from yesterday?
Okay, that is at times, like when I'm not able to manage certain circumstances, I tend to get very emotional. So I just wanted to have a balance of that. So only when we are able to balance our emotions, then we can be a good leader, right? So that's what I learned from yesterday's session. So and of course I started implementing it in many ways. In sense, just for example, if you take the family circumstances, so right from there, right from a day-to-day life, I started implementing to balance my emotions so that I can be a good leader and also good example for my students. So that's it, sir.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so can we have the next person? Okay, can you mute yourself, Dr. Divya? Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's some noise over there. Okay, anybody else there? I don't know. It's up to you. Dhanam Tirsa is there. Gracie is there. Bhavani is there. Prasad sir is there. Many Dias. Ramarav sir is there. Mitchell. Anyone? Come on, unmute yourself quick. Unleash the
Just one
potential.
person, sir.
Any one person.
Samuel, sir. Any one is enough, no?
Anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone. Because I want them to tell about
Start.
unleash the potential. Topic is unleash. If you can't unmute and talk, then no point of unleash the potential.
Yeah, Samuel sir, can I talk?
Wonderful.
Please.
Over to you, Dr. Martin.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Like, see, I mean, yesterday it was really very productive session. I mean, as far as my opinion goes, like the first one is by Gab. Really, I found one thing catchy. Like, he says, love and work. If you can really club both, either you love the work where you are in, or you work where you love. So a bit of fine tuning, a kind of a fine tuning, right? And then the numbers what you were sharing, only 13% of the people are actually able to love their work. That means it's a big question, like, I mean, whether I'm in 13 or whether I'm in this. So if I'm in the other one, I think I should make it to the 13%.
Yes.
Like, he was also talking about self leadership, where he was also talking about Stephen Covey's buy rocks. I think it has fascinated me, by rocks. So building on strengths or whatever you have, which is which is with you. So I think that I found it very encouraging. So I thought I'll just stop here because maybe others can speak.
Good.
Yes.
Dr. Martin,
No,
thank you. Thank you so
Professor,
much.
Professor Samuel, I think now is the time to start, and we shall have some more time at the end of that, because even the today's speaker will be finishing it off a little, like, before the time, around 7:30 or like that. So after that also we can have. I mean, if there are any participants who would like to share their views and reviews, surely we will give time, sir. Is that fine?
Ready to go.
Hello?
All up to you.
Yes.
Ready to start.
Yes. Yes. Vandana ma'am. And over to Vandana ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we can see Vandana ma'am is on the call.
Vandana ma'am.
Yeah, she's on the call. Let her finish a minute. Okay. So before Vandana ma'am pickups, let's start the day with a positive note. All right. Because it's about unleashing your potentiality. I want to tell you, my friends, Martin sir and yesterday they were talking about
Vandana ma'am.
Of your organizations, right? Yeah. So Vandana ma'am, over to you, and then we start.
Okay, good evening, all the participants. Good evening, Sanil Johnson sir, Ganesh sir. Today we are here to discuss about the
Good
topic
evening,
called social skills and social innovation. And coming to the innovation, it can be a business innovation and a social innovation. What is the difference between the social innovation and the business innovation? One has to take that into account. Innovation means is nothing but the new ideas and that we have to work on. That is a point number one where the innovation starts. Social innovation refers to the new ideas that work in meeting social goals. There is a difference between the business innovation and the social innovation. Business innovations concentrate on profit maximization, whereas the social innovations, the root cause is different and the purpose is different. So what is the difference between the both, and what is the target level that has to be focused? Innovation becomes an imperative when problems are getting worse. As a great Victorian historian, Lord Macaulay wrote, there is a constant improvement precisely because there is constant discontent. So this was a quotation given by a famous person. So taking this as a base, let us start today's session. And before we start a session, I request Ms. Kavya, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Management, to please introduce Mr. Ganesh Ramchandran, sir, for this wonderful gathering this evening. Over to Kavya.
Mr. Ganesh Ramachandran has over 20 years of global operational leadership work experience with UN organization, INGOs, to name a few: Oxfam, Mercy Crops, Christian Aid, and CARE. Ganesh is from Ambasamudram, a small town in southern Tamil Nadu, grew up in Madras and Calcutta, started development and humanitarian work in Latur and various parts of India before taking up international work. He has led complex humanitarian operations in Balkans, Afghanistan, Asian tsunami, Southern Sudan crisis, and Sudan in 2015, to name a few. He brings significant operational experience coupled with change management, staff engagement, and bottom up approach in a complex organizational structure. He has lived and traveled to over 65 countries and currently shuttles between Geneva and London, where his wife and kids live. Ganesh currently works for Unit Aid, a partnership hosted by WHO in bringing global health innovations to fight HIV, malaria, TB, and co-infections. Mr. Ganesh Ramachandran currently is pursuing Executive Masters in Innovation and Entrepreneurship from HEC Paris. He has also completed a certificate program in change management from MIT Sloan Executive Education, Boston, USA, and MBA from Symbiosis University. Mr. Ganesh is passionate about working with young people. In the personal team, he is acting as mentor and advisor to Teens in AI initiative, and he is working with young people to AI and machine learning. I found a very interesting quote in his profile. His philosophy of life goes like this: adversity of turning obstacles upside down is an opportunity to improve our condition. With this said, I would leave the floor to Mr. Ganesh Ramachandran, and we heartily welcome you, sir, from St. Joseph's family.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for a wonderful introduction. I'm really grateful to Dr. Martina for inviting me. And also, it's an absolute pleasure to see so many of you with years of experience, abundance of experience, listening into my journey and also some of the experiences I've learned over the period. Before I share a few slides with you, I think, as Mr. Samuel pointed out, I think there are a couple of things which is coming into my mind and which has been one of my inspiration, which I would say to my my leaders whom I look up for, and also my managers and others, is about unleashing the potential. If the potential is not being unleashed, then we are not going anywhere. So at every stage in your life, you need to look for people, and it's a duty at both the fronts. Whether you are a person managing people, or you are the person who are helping others, or you are leading a normal life, is about how do you unleash yourself and take it forward. I think that's something really, really important, and something which will take you a long way. So without any further delay, I thought I would just I put together a small a presentation on discussion with Dr. Martina. So let me share with you, if that's okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Thank you. So, the topic was, it's around social skills and also combined with social innovation. And I think, as a good start, hearing in from yesterday's symposium, my peers and others have kept a very high standard. So I will, in the next 30 minutes, I'll do my best to leave you inspired in the similar way. But to start with, I thought like probably I'll share with you a quick kind of my career journey. I'm sure you in the screen you will see this is not something just for me, for everybody. And everybody would think that, okay, the career is you start from somewhere, you just keep climbing. But actually, I'm sure that each one of you in this room, you would disagree to that. Am I right? Maybe I can hear yes or no from one or two people. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah. So,
Yes. Yes, sir.
So career or any growth is never a perfect linear curve. So in my case, I would say it was like this. And to elaborate a little bit more on that, you would say this is how my kind of career went through. So from Chennai to Calcutta, Calcutta to working for Oxfam, then exploring international opportunity, then went to one of my favorite or close to heart work, which is Pakistan. And then, I got married and decided to stay back. And then somewhere it took me to UK. And then I was looking at what is next. And then I ended up working for the UN. So it has been a journey, and my journey still continues. I wouldn't say it's ended yet, it's still continuing. But throughout the process, you will look at it on two of my down curve or, up curve or down curve, whatever you say it. I was building my technical skills. You can call it technical skills. I was doing my bachelor's, then I did a day. In between, I was doing other technology and things like that. But then when I look at my own journey, when I look back, okay, what are those moments where things made a huge difference? You will see a couple of ones I deliberately, color coded it. And those are the early years of my life. I could say when I look back, I feel like I was probably very young at that time. Maybe I feel a little bit older now. Someone from coming in from Madras for me, and growing up, went to Calcutta at the age of 21, 22. I was feeling like, I think Dr. Samuel mentioned earlier today about the purpose. I'll come back to the purpose, but something was bothering me. At that age, I didn't know what was that bothering. So that was more about, challenges in terms of, okay, how do I really look at what do I do? I was working for, as any, South Indian coming in from, or when I lived in Calcutta, people used to call me a Madrasi. Coming in from Madras, the ideal job opportunity would be either you are a chartered accountant, a doctor, or an engineer. You work for the banks, you work for IT corporations. That's the kind of world in. I was also on the same phase. I worked for Citibank. I did my articleship from one of the top auditing firms in India called Loda and Company. I also went into followed the same track like any other people. But then something bothered me. I felt like, I'm not really enjoying, and I was not really getting, something was missing. I was carving for something. So that helped me to say, okay, I need to look at what do I do. Then my passion for working with youth groups in Calcutta gave me an opportunity to make me feel like that's something interesting. Maybe I should pursue. But, I can tell you today that was my big inspiration. But then actually that was not the only inspiration. There was also something else, because I was living alone. I need to feed myself. So the first introduction for me to do something social good came in where a small NGO working with destitute women, working outside Calcutta city called 24 Parganas. Basically, they said they wanted somebody who can do their bookkeeping. And those days, there was no ERP or any big systems. All they had was an old PC 468 computer. I'm sure most of you would be familiar with this. And something called, not even an Excel, something called Quarter Pro, which used to be the Excels of the olden age. And that's what they had. And with that, I was doing their bookkeeping manually. While I was doing it, in the evening, they would give me in return for the support was I'll get 2 times meal. That's what I was getting. So I'll go there in the afternoon, I get my lunch, I do the bookkeeping, and then I get my dinner, and then I will sleep. Next day, I do the same, I'll come back home. So that was my livelihood at that time. What made was impact was after dinner, in a village, you don't have nothing much to do. So I used to sit out and go outside, and I used to look at those colleagues from there and sitting with the local women and community, talking about some of their problem under the Bettermas light, right? So that's what we. So hearing to their stories and what they are doing, that really brought in and say, okay, this is something quite passionate, something different, and maybe I should pursue. And that persuaded me to get an opportunity to go and work for Oxfam in Latur, in Maharashtra, Bhoompag. I'm sure you might have heard in 1993, there was a major earthquake in Maharashtra, which killed almost then roughly 20 to 30,000 people in a place in Kilari, like 400 kilometers from Hyderabad. Now, and Latur is also known for their sugarcane field, where a lot of sugar used to come from. Where then the Chief Minister Sharad Pawar and Vilas Rao Deshmukh they are from. So it's quite a rich area. At the same time, they have massive drought, and that's where I started my journey. Somewhere when I was working there, it really made me feel like, I'm doing something different. Coming in from Madras and Calcutta, living in a small town was quite challenging, but that gave me a spark that, okay, let me go through. As I started working for Oxfam and meeting interesting people, visited so many projects, working in the emergency program, I started the interest for going for an international opportunity. I wanted to go and work in a conflict zone, because my mentors, as we started earlier, there were people who were trying to unleash my potential. I was kept told that, Ganesh, you have got some skill which can make things happen. You are able to roll up your sleeves and able to go and make things happen. So you have that DNA. I think you should pursue it. I was trying it. It took me a lot of time. I don't remember exactly how many interviews I've given, but definitely more than 20 interviews before I got a first breakthrough to go and work in Kosovo. That was a really an interesting experience in terms of, I included rejections, so many rejections, but every time at the end of the rejection, I used to turn around and say, okay, failure is a stepping stone for success. Let me start applying for another role. And it was just, I was just moving forward. And then you can just see I've gone through the phase. I wanted to work in Afghanistan. I used to have a similar beard, even though my family doesn't like it. Then even my fiance didn't like it, but I love growing a beard. The Afghanistan is still closer to my heart. I worked there for a year, so I had a wonderful opportunity to go there. Then I decided that maybe I should slow down, got married, stayed back in India. But then the passion or my inner drive didn't complete. And then I started moving up and able to look for, build my skills, able to look for opportunities. Somehow ended up in the UK working for Christian Aid, and then the rest. So over the 10 years of working for international organization, I developed a lot of management skills, communication, went through leadership training program, and also learned leadership. You can go through the all those training program, but also I always believe, this is my personal story, I believe that it's something you learn as you go through. You need the moment, and that will tell you how it takes through. No perfect sign for leadership. It's about you, it's about the people with whom you work and what are you trying to do, and you just need to follow it. Of course, there are values, there are principles, what you need to follow through, but it's also important to see how you take it forward. The one thing which has always been itching me, and that was, UN. It was my grandfather's dream. I was brought up by my grandfather. When I was young, at the age of 14 and 15, my grandfather used to tell me that he wanted, for him, it was League of Nations. At least one member from the family he would like to see working for the UN. For him, that was something really, really special about it. So that was somewhere in my mind. And during the course of my journey, I was looking for, after many applications and interviews, I landed up with a job. I continue to do it, and I'm going through that. And I have to say that I really, really enjoy my work, what I do. There are moments of ups and downs, like with every job, but there is a sense of something what we are trying to make a difference, which you get it. It's a wonderful experience, and I thank all my mentors and leaders and others. You might notice that I've included a couple of others, and I'll go over it a little bit more. And this is something which I'm currently going through. as I was looking at it in terms of, where I am going, what is my next step in terms of my career challenges and aspirations, the one thing which was always there back is, a great opportunity to have wonderful leaders and mentors who guided me, challenged me, throwed me on the deep frying pan to come out with experiences. And when I failed, they were there to give me a hand or shoulder to walk with them. And sometimes they even walked with me. And this includes not just my work colleagues, my friends, my family, and my most important part of my life, it's my wife, my son, and my daughter. So they have been there with me throughout my journey, and that really helped me to go for it. And they have been my mentors. I have been their mentors, and I have been their mentees, and they have been my mentees. So it's something which we are continue to explore as we move forward. And my journey continues. So the one thing which I really want to leave in, and this is something which is closer to me. I think one of the colleagues, as a reflection, you talked about it in terms of you need to love the job what you do, and also, or you need to enjoy what you're doing. So those are the two combinations. But for me, this is a concept which is called Ikigai. It's a Japanese concept of looking at purpose. What is your purpose in life? And how do you find it? So the purpose, the Ikigai looks at 4 aspects of it. One is the passion, what you see. The second one is the mission, what you're looking for, what are you trying to achieve and what are you trying to do, where your mission is leading. The third one is the profession. And then the fourth one is a vocation, what you are likely, what you try for your free time and everything. And the moment is we go through at every stage in our life, we go through that one. We are part of that 4 diagrams, what we go through. The best part is this centerpiece where you are able to see a convergence of all the 4 of them is that Ikigai moment. And it's that moment which gives you the sense of purpose. It gives you that inner good and inner satisfaction to how we take it forward. In the next slide, it gives you a little bit more of the concept, and I'll expand it what does it mean. So the first one, what I mentioned about what you love, what you love doing, and which is divided into 2 aspects of it. One is your passion. The other one is your mission. What is your mission is going through? You struggle between that emotional side of it. The second quadrant, what you're looking at it is that vision, mission, and also the vocation. And the greater part is what is the world around you needs it? How could you able to do that one? How can you able to support it? And it be in between those 2 one, you have the excitement piece. I would feel like today's moment for me is an excitement because I'm looking at, okay, how can I share my experience? And also it's something like a vocation for me, which gives me a lot of excitement to do that one. But then the point is, okay, is it that moment or is it something beyond? The next one is what you are looking at between your vocation and something what you're looking around your profession, which is around what you can be paid for. Your day-to-day job where you are doing it, you need to earn the money. But sometimes in between that, going back to the earlier point, you do your job, you get paid, but there is an in-between moment where you feel like, am I getting everything? No, maybe I should do more. The last piece is around is what are you good at? Every human being has got something really good in them, some talent, hidden talent. People identify it at early age, people identify it at mid-age, people identify it at a later age. So it's a journey of exploring yourself to find when you find that one. So for me, I would just go into it and say this element where you are able to bring in that moment is about the reason for being. The centerpiece is that Ikigai moment. So when you look at, when you're doing anything, I love cooking, so I love eating food. So the moment when you cook, it's your passion for cook is something what you're feeding somebody, and maybe you might get paid or I might not get paid, and then what you're good at it. When you get that moment, and when the person, you cook something, which is your delicacy, you served somebody who ate the food, and then they say that this food was really good, where I really enjoyed the taste of it. And then you look back and see, yes, something I felt from my heart that I was able to do it. And then the last part is you are good at it. And that moment gives you the purpose. That moment really makes you the purpose of going through. On this one, I just wanted to tell you one thing. And it's there written in my blog, and Dr. Martina can share it with you after this talk. in the last 5 months, we are going through this really unreal times. And it was quite interesting for me. And this is the first time, as you can see from my, travel and the work what we have done. I've always been to another country to support the humanitarian crisis. I've been involved in helping people, in helping them how to address it. So like I was from India, I flew to Afghanistan to provide the support. I was in London, I went to Sudan to do the emergency operations, which was really good. But this is the first moment where during the pandemic, I moved back from Switzerland. I'm back in London. I'm sitting with my family because I love my family. I need to be with them. And then I'm doing my day job where as a United employee for my job, I'm contributing to our program, able to deliver things and things are going through, which is brilliant. And then after 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I sit back and look at it and say, what am I doing? Have I become selfish? Have I lost my passion? Am I sitting at home, not able to contribute it, not able to do anything? Is it the same Ganesh which I look at myself on the mirror or talk myself? No, something I'm missing. And then I got an invite from one of my friend, Elena, and you can read more in my article, who reached out and say, Ganesh, I would like you to be part of a mentor. I'm organizing a hackathon and I would like you to be part of this journey and you help me through. The rest, I would like you to read that one. But that gave me the sense of purpose. As we go through this piece, that gave me a sense of purpose where I was able to hold on to my vocation, hold on to my profession, hold on to my love, and I was able to take it forward. And that's why I thought this is something I would like to share. And I'm happy to come back to you at a later stage to talk a little bit more about this particular concept. While I'm here, and I also want to give you one other book, which you may want to look into it. And it's an amazing book, which one of my friend sent me a link, and which I have not read it fully. I have to admit that I'm halfway through. The book is called "The Obstacle Is the Way," and the quote one of your colleagues read out came out. Some of it from that book while I was reading, looking at, during adversity, how do we come out and how do we take it forward? So this is one book which I would definitely recommend, when you have free time, it's worth having a look for it. And that will give you a different perspective. Just moving on from the concept, and we can come back to it into this later. Just moving away from my personal journey to a little bit around the social innovation piece. As Ms. Mandana, as she alluded, the concept of social innovation. So what is this social innovation? And innovation is a big buzzword. And, I was talking to somebody and I said, and in the current climate, innovation is a big buzzword. I would call it, in my personal way, necessity is the mother of innovation. When you need something, you will come out with an innovative product which will take you further. The whole concept of social innovation came in is looking at how can the innovation, the technological innovation or any kind of innovation could benefit to a greater good. At the same time, you are able to make money, you are able to raise profits. At the same time, you are able to give employment to others. So any idea where we are able to look at how this idea could be sustainable, how that idea could be fair, how it could be more effective, and how that can bring back an overall change into the overall society. And that's what we are talking about, social innovation. So here are some examples for which I think some of you may know or you would have seen. I'm sure you all will think man likes circles. Of course, I have finance and circles in my numbers in my life, so I do like circles. When you look at social innovations, one of the examples you can talk about is the famous Grameen Bank, which started in Bangladesh by Professor Mohammad Yunus, who won a Nobel Prize for that. That's a concept where it's a proper running banking system, but it was developed from the bottom-up approach. And going back to Mr. Samuel's word, is the what was it say? It's a kickstart or a self-start. So I would say this is a self-start opportunity to going from bottom to up approach on that one. The second one, which is very closer to my heart, is the technological innovation. But there is a new word, you will notice it, which is called Jugaad. Jugaad is also in Oxfam, thanks to Indians, I'm sure Jugaad, and now it's been Jugaad has also been spoken as frugal innovation. The Aravind Eye Hospital, the work what they are doing is being considered their way, how they are improvised, how they have done the reverse innovation aspect of it in providing eye care support to the millions and millions of people is something they were able to use the technology, but able to come up with a low cost model. Then the third one is then around the institutional innovation. I think you had somebody speaking in from Kenya, and it's very popular in India now. I think it's in India, they call it as a Paytm, but in Kenya, it's in M-Pesa, which is a online text money sent through text, which brought in a huge revolution in Eastern Central Africa, 5, 6, or maybe more than that, 8 years ago. And that was, again, going back to the earlier point, is top-down approach where companies saw an innovation, an opportunity. They saw there was an SMS booming and they came up with it, but it's benefiting huge amount of people. If you ask me, all these innovations had a social impact, at the same time able to capitalize some of the profits or the business aspect of it. This is another way to look at it, the overall impact of the social innovation, how we walk through. It's like an onion peel. As you open up an onion, you can see how it grows, or you can go downwards. Again, apologies, another circle here. It starts from two ways. One is from an individual level, another one from a global country level. How at every stage you can create an impact by keeping the overall social concept in place at your workplace, at your cities, in your friendly level, and also looking beyond. And I would say that the concept of global is really important. I know when the technology came in, everybody was looking at it globally, but also as the pandemic comes, we are all together and we are looking at as one human race, how do we overcome the challenge of COVID going forward? There are a couple of things linking on from that. I just wanted to leave some food thoughts for you. The social innovation. So the whole social innovation, which is being driven, and one other big concept, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, is called the design thinking. In the design thinking model, I would say that design thinking has played a huge role in getting the social innovation piece in a big scale. Looking at the customer, looking at the social good being the center of it, and able to take it forward. So these are some of the areas where there is a huge opportunity, and there is also a huge gap, which you will notice it in the case of the skills, in the case of how we could really help people and take it forward. The one is, what you notice is the concept of, which is important for any innovation. But I would say that in today's world, and as a faculty, as a professors, and this is something would be really interesting to bring into the Indian society. I've been following up in Europe, and I had the luxury to learn this while working in other part of the world. But this concept of innovation challenge, I was telling, when I was talking to Dr. Martina about this topic, I was remembering the school exhibition those days when I studied, 30 years ago. That school exhibition used to be the innovation challenge. We used to be given saying like, go home and come up with something. I remember using some welding pens to come up with a small piano. That was my innovation, or a frugal innovation. But we used to have those competitions where my teachers used to give me full freedom and say, hey, go and come up, go crazy, go wild, come up with something. And that's what we are talking about, those innovation challenges, where we are saying that we have a problem, go and come up with solutions and see how we can address it. The second one is a form, a fancy name, what we call it as a boot camps. The boot camps is where you bring in people in a concept where you are able to train them and learn from each other and giving them small skills, not the traditional ones, what you learn in your school classes or your college curriculum. The third one, which is getting very, very popular, and I am a big fan and advocate of it, is hackathon. I love hackathon, and I've been, convinced and over by the hackathon. The name hackathon sounds, it's all about, technology. Actually, it is not about technology. It is about technology, but it's not everything. So why? Because in a hackathon, what you are trying to do is you put people from all walks of life in a room, give them 48 hours to come up with a solution. But in order for the solutions to come up, you need to have an idea, you need to connect with people, you need to solve those problems, and you need to be able to present it. What it gives you, it makes you think outside of the box. It makes the people who are not extrovert, who are introvert, pushes them to bring their ideas. It helps them to come out with their creativity. It helps them to come out of their their own box. It gives them a confidence. It gives them a prioritization. It gives them a motivation. You can name it the way you want, but that stimulation brings the people out of them. And what this hackathon does it doesn't happen in your classroom. It doesn't happen in any offices. It happens in a very, very loose environment where you are able to relax and you are able to feel it. If you ask people, you can go back and speak to your parents or people who have done innovations. There is a article which I learned, and you can follow it after this conversation, or you might be knowing it before. If you look at some of the scientists or the people who have invented something or big leaders, have you watched the kind of clothes what they wear? If you look at Satya Nadella, he wears a light shirt. Mark Zuckerberg, he wears a t-shirt. Even for a big conference, he wears a t-shirt. Sundar Pichai wears a pale, light color t-shirts. You might wonder, have you ever wondered why they wear those kind of things? But it makes them feel lighter. It makes them feel really relaxed. Because the moment you put them in a box, you become really compressed. Your ideas doesn't come out. Your body blood circulation gets closed. You're not able to really come up with the creative ways. So hackathon is one model where we are going back to the old roots. People from India, we are used to it. If you go back to our villages, a lot of those things happen under a banyan tree. Seldomly, half of the things have taken place. Yes, Bill Gates sweater, the light sweater. You've never seen, I've hardly seen Bill Gates with the suit and the tie. So in the banyan tree is where a lot of these ideas came in. If you look at Newton, he came up with the law when he was lying on the grass overlooking an apple tree. That's how he discovered the Newton's law. So you can see, we can go back to our history and look at it, how different things have come and how we can create it. Obviously, in today's modern world, we cannot recreate everything, but within the space, how can we create those ones? So that's something would be interesting. The two other parts which I wanted to leave it with you before I open it for questions or any other challenges from you, and also some contributions, is the one thing which I'm really passionate about is the whole concept of mentoring. Today, what I am is because of the mentors I have got it. I continue to mentor people. I still have mentors. Mentoring is something, it's so powerful, so helpful, and you have somebody to listen to. They help you when you're down, they give you a motivation. When you have a success, they pat you at the back and say, good, but what is next? They help you to set your, they are your support. They also give you a sense of direction. So something is really, really a great opportunity. It's there in today's world, but not everybody is exposed to it, and not everybody is taking the best out of it. So one thing which I would say, all of you in this symposium, I would like you to think about. I'm sure that you all are doing mentoring in your own way, in a small way, whether with your students, whether with your kids, whether with your family member. But this is something would be maybe you may want to think about how you could expand it at a broader one, and even for you. To look at, maybe you may want to pursue somebody as your mentor to look at, how you can come up with your own process. The last slide, the small picture on that one is around the personal, interpersonal, and management, and also the initiative. This is something I took it from, this particular clip took it from one of the articles I had come through Dr. Martina's work and from your university. It's around, capturing the same skills in terms of, where do you strike the balance. Technical skills is important. At the same time, the soft skills, what you develop, is also equally important. These are some of the ways, I think I kind of spoke about it, what I'm trying to talk about it in terms of soft skills, hard skills. You can develop those soft skills. It's really important. I really like this picture of the brain, because you need both the sides of the brain. The brain operates in both ways. The same way, in order to get a sound, you need two hands. So you need a hard skill. You also need a soft skill. Without that, you cannot really move forward. And the same way, it's also the question about how do you balance your hard skill versus soft skill? And it's there in your personal, everyday life, whether in your family, whether at your work or in the community. It's about, finding the balance. You can walk in the street, you could be the topmost CEO of the world, but if you're going to go and buy a fruit from a vegetable seller or a fruit vendor, you need to use your soft skills. He is not just going to give you just because you came on a Maserati or an Audi Q8 or you are in a VIP. You need to have the soft skill. Otherwise, he will give you if you take it as a power, but not with passion, not with something which you would like to look it for. So I will end here, and I know that I hope I didn't take too much of my time. I'll end there and I'll open it for any questions or any reflections. And also I would like to hear some kind of journey. And I'm sure all the participants in the room of 63 people, you all have similar journeys, somewhere or other, some pathways, some learnings, and it'll be a wonderful opportunity for us to hear about it. And
Ganesha, can unmute? Yes. Yeah. Clear. Thank you.
I'll stop sharing the slide and the focus. I'll leave it to you.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, I have a question to ask.
Yeah.
Sir, this is Dr. Arjuna Kumar, sir. Sir, a question. As you said, this hackathon is excellent, sir. And what you are explained is social innovation was good. I have a question regarding this. In this pandemic situation, the responsibilities of the citizens towards destitute, sir. How they have to feel responsible regarding this destitutes.
Destitutes meaning in which way? Can you further explain your question, please?
Destitutes means they are homeless and they are migrants.
No, I understand destitute, but what was your question? Are you
the
saying
responsibilities of the citizens, sir. The citizens of India, they should feel responsible for these people in this pandemic situation. What could the things they can do for them?
It's an interesting question you're asking. I would say, it's a personal choice what you make, right? That goes back to the question of the purpose. It's a purpose what you're looking for. So I'm sure that each one of us have a purpose and they want to help each other. But then the question is what help they can do and how they can help each other. Some people have the luxury and give them some food. Some people can give them the job. So the question is what you can do and what you can afford and how you take it through. There's no one size fit all. And what I would say to you would be is you need to find what is your purpose. I gave an example about me being part of that hackathon. My contribution to the hackathon where I got really excited was, I wouldn't say in my context there were people who were left out or he didn't have anybody. But actually, it was interesting for me looking from a young people. Just imagine 12 to 18-year-old students who hasn't been to a school for the last 4 months period. They are sitting at home. They are not doing their portions. They're sitting at home. They're playing all the time in their phone. What would be their mental stage? How do we help them to overcome this pandemic? I think as Sam mentioned that more than the virus really killing them is the mental health, which is affecting all of us. Let's not underestimate the impact on the young people, the people from 12 to 18, who are used to meeting other children who are forced at home. So the one thing which I felt was, I have a teenager at home. I could see him closing his door and he doesn't want to talk to anybody. So when I came to know about this hackathon, I felt like, okay, this is a great option where we can bring students and young people from across the world. So we had around 400 people from all around the world joining this hackathon program. Right now, there are many taking place. So what was my role? Okay, I had an idea about how to do design, how to prepare PowerPoint presentation, how to do business. So I said to them, feel free to contact me. reach me out either in the morning or at night, I'm ready to work with you. And I felt like that's something which I can help them to overcome their personal challenge. That was the best I could do. Sitting in London, I can't do anything more. And exactly the same question what you asked, posed me, my wife turned around and asked me, yes, Ganesh, you have always been there in the refugee camps or after the tsunami or after the earthquake. You have gone and delivered that. Right now, you are here. You are not able to go anywhere. I understand it, but you need to find within your zone what can you do and how you can help each other. You cannot help everything, but as long as you feel like you are able to make one difference, I think that adds value. And just imagine if each one of us in this call, 64 people, are able to move one steps. You're talking about 64 steps, making an impact on 64 people. And that's the first kind of an expansion of a network. And that 64 can multiply to another 64. And that's how the change begins. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Sir, Ganesh sir, I'm Martina. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, yes, sir. Sir, I just would like to be little frank that when I asked for this kind of counseling session, or you can call it as a mentoring session, people like you all, like though you are not from the teaching fraternity, though you are all working with organization, immediately you said, yes, I'm ready to do it without any say condition or without any apprehension. Like you never thought or you did think twice or thrice, like, yes, I'm interested, you said. So that also made me understand that as a faculty, like what way I can mentor, uh, what way I can be the source of mentoring to our students. Now you gave one good example. Sitting at home, you're able to help out the students to improve their skills, and very especially among all the skills, soft skill. See, when we say skills and employability, people think of immediately what comes to their mind is soft skills. Means it's more or less like interpersonal skill. So now there is no chance for our students to come out of the houses and improve their soft skills. But the platform that you are providing, I think it's going to increase their soft skills, though they are not physically in touch with each other. So I was thinking about all these things. So what could be the social innovation platform that an institution, education institution, or faculty members individually can adopt to help the student community? It's like teaching fraternity with the student community. So would you suggest those kind of, see, you gave one example, hackathon, like likewise for an institution, how it can go about having some social innovation platform where you can make the students meet with the industry people. Like I was doing some research in from the year 2015, where I read is some kind of reports by Stanford University and all those universities, where they have number of platforms. But do you do in your organization, like even UN also, you have number of youths coming to your organization, where for them every day is a learning thing. So would you suggest even to the education institution that these are few more social innovation platforms where if you can adopt, where if you adopt you can do something better, or you can improve the skills among the students? So I request you to give some throw some light on this. I'm sorry for a lengthy.
No. Thanks, Dr. Martina. I think it's a very interesting question what you have asked me. It's something which it comes to my mind. I'm looking at. I'll give you a personal example from my son's school. What they are. He goes to a school in London. During the pandemic, you ask an exactly the same question. Okay, how do we bring them the social skill? How do we really bring them out? So one of the student, I think he was 17 years old. His mother is a nurse in the local hospital. When she came back home, she was saying that in the hospital we don't have the voice. So and she was talking about it. It's becoming risky and we are not able to get it. So immediately this boy turned around and sent an email to his teacher saying, we have 3D printers at school. Will you be interested? Can we do a vase using our 3D printer? The school teacher immediately, the design and technology teacher immediately said, that's a great idea. Can you bring one? Let's give us a shot and see what could be there. So the boy went back to the school. When he went back to the school, he took a couple of his other friends. They went to the school. The teacher came over, wearing all PPE gloves and everything, and they prepared the PPE. And they made 10, and the 10 they took and gave to the hospital. The hospital turned back and said to them, "This is amazing. Would you mind doing it for another 100 for us?" Then they started doing for 100. And then one other parent in the group, they work for the media. They had some contact in BBC. The BBC came over. They took a small video about their school. I can send it. And then that played in the BBC News in London. That started spreading spirally. People are able to take it through. They were able to follow it, and a lot of hospitals started playing the order. So I'm giving you this one example, and I'm sure that there are loads of examples in India too, but this is closer to my heart, I'm telling you. There I see an opportunity to addressing to some of the questions what you just asked me. A student able to go back to the faculty, to the teacher and say, here is a problem, we have, what can we do? And the teacher able to look at it and say, hey, we have the facility at school, can we try and something? It's about able to create that opportunity and able to walk that extra mile. Going back to the current situation, what the other universities and colleges can do is, hackathon is one model. There are other things without even going through an hackathon model. You could even ask your own students to look at the situations what they are going through. Ask them to come up what kind of solutions they can come up in providing it. One of the ways could be is organize coaching classes for the children. One of the colleagues asked me about how do we help them, the destitute children. Maybe you have got a Zoom link, you have got a WhatsApp link. You can set up a one like an online tuition for some of the students who might not be able to get that support. That could be one way to organize a social skill for them. And what you could do is you can, as a faculty, you can inspire the student to do that. And as they are doing it, you can give them that the list of outcomes or KPIs, what we will be assessing is not a physical marks, it's about your soft skills. Rather than going and asking a
Sir, no voice.
To take it forward. So that is one way where you can bring things. So these are small ways where you could look at opportunities to kind of look at within your own process you could do. The other one, what is available is, if you have a clear structured process around the mentoring and the mentee support, you can reach out to the companies where you can ask those executives or the senior managers to provide them to help these people in building their future. The career counseling is something which should be a perfect time right now. The positive thinking opportunities could be there. But it's also a question about, it's a win-win for everybody, right? So there are companies if you look at corporates, are looking through how do we keep our employers motivated? One of the things what even within the agency I'm working on, we are looking at, okay, how do we keep people motivated? This pandemic has gone almost 5 months now. It's like a marathon. You cannot keep doing the same thing and again and again. You need a little bit of fresh air. You need to do something differently. So the question of, okay, how could we develop a program? So maybe you are in Hyderabad, there are, Amazon is there. All the new startups are coming there. So maybe you could collaborate with some of the startups to help them do that one. The second thing, what you're also finding is some of these startups are losing out money. They're not having a new client. They need innovation. So maybe there you can say that you have got a students who can provide that support and that could be delivered. That could be a project where you can facilitate it. So it's not just always about, what we have on the core education platform. And this is not the time we can just focus only the core education platform. Maybe it's something looking at what can we do differently? What are the other skills that we can help people to do that, and how can we communicate it? So that's what I would say would be a good starting point. And I'm sure there are so many examples. I see somebody has written about Pune University students preparing a mask and then planted trees, and they were conducting surveys. So it's about reaching out to how people could do and kind of encourage that thought process. And maybe one other thing, with my sincere apologies if I sound a little bit harsh to my country people, my countrymen, is somewhere, and I don't know how it is today, but when I grew up, there is a feeling that your achievements are always measured against your grades. People believe that if you have not scored 99.9 in your max, you are not good enough. But I think that's the psychology we need to slowly start changing it. Post-COVID, post-new reality, there needs to be a balance around how do we look out for their other skills and how do we help them to improve on. If someone who wants to be an artist, who is good at creating, drawing a painting, if we expect him to do an advanced mathematics and trying to solve a nuclear physics problem, it's something wrong. You can't get that person to do it. It's like you're asking someone who's doing a rickshaw, pulling a rickshaw and giving him an airplane, saying, okay, here is an airplane, start flying a pilot. It's not going to work, right? It's the same situation. So I think it's something we need to look at a little bit of importance at every level and educate that it's not always what you do as a technical skill is important. It's about other things. And the last point I would say on this one, I know it's a long answer. The last point I would say is what you're doing right now. It's really an excellent way to really showcase people from non-traditional technical background who has become very successful. And at the same time, I'm not trying to say that you should show examples of people who have not finished their university or who have not done it. But it's also about positive sides of showcasing of a person who was something different and who have achieved things differently. One person I came to know about it is Martina Rani, who's a famous film actor. And if you look at his background, he was not into acting at all, but somewhere he had that passion. And today, everybody enjoys Munnabai, MBBS movie, you would have seen Martina Rani. He's an amazing actor and everybody loves it. But if you look at his early years, he was an engineer or he was following something. And there is another one called Raghu Dixit. He's a great musician. And he's a chemical engineer from IIT and BITS.
PhD in chemical engineer.
He's in a band. He loves playing guitar. So, I think these are some of those examples where we need to talk about, how you can still pursue the passion to take it forward. I'm sure there are many examples, but that's something will really inspire people at every level. Thank you.
Dr. Martina?
Sir, is it clear? I'm sorry.
Martina, can we hear you?
Yes.
Yeah, can I just pitch in for a minute and tell exactly for what you asked and what Dr. Ganesh Ram has told about social innovation, what can be done now, okay, for the topic. So my dear friends, again, I want to be, don't take me harsh. In our nation, plans are plenty, results are empty. You ask people question answer, question pe question. Are tune kya kiya bhai? I am asking you a question. As a teacher, as a professor, what is that you did apart from teaching classes, apart from completing the syllabus, apart from getting your PhD, apart from getting your research papers? My dear friends, during this COVID, the same person was talking to you along with my former students. We started doing a social innovation project. And my project was very important. I want to give jobs to people who are at home. We want to give jobs to students who feel that, sir, I don't know where the jobs are. All right. So are you able to see my screen there? Everybody? Yes, no, no, yes, quickly. Martina, madam?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is.
Makeadifference.io, we just started a month ago. What we started doing is, we started getting, because see, for that you need to have network. For that you need to have a good network. So whichever companies, wherever jobs are, can you see the jobs? All these jobs are, you can sit at home and work from home. So because people don't know where the jobs are during COVID, we took everything we are putting here, and the company can take it from here. The people can post here. We have linked the job with the market, with the people. Now tell me, last month alone, so many calls. They said, sir, thank you so much for making a difference. Are you able to see my LinkedIn?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now you can see the name there. His name is Johnson Samuel. I am Samuel Johnson. Don't confuse. Whom I'm speaking is Samuel Johnson. He was my former student called Johnson Samuel. He is a UA architect. He's well settled. All right. But you see there, our discussions went on and on and on and on. Recently, can you see the dates? Can you see there? Yes or no? Last Friday. All right. All these discussions, now we made it. It's our platform. It's ready. And everything we linked it through LinkedIn so that recruiters and companies can hire people. People can know where jobs are. So if we, all of us, can do something rather than talking and talking and talking and talking, I just hate it. All the teachers, I'm a teacher like you. There is no need for me to do that. But the topic says, the conference says, unleash your potentiality. I know there are so many students who are stuck at home. They don't know where to go now. Placements are not coming there. So why can't we build? Why can't we bridge? It just took 2 days for us. All of us have our students. They're working in a big companies and everything is free. Nobody needs to pay a single paisa, because if you can give livelihood, there's nothing better than giving livelihood to people than to live. All right. I hope Dr. Martina was very clear. If each of us can do some contribution, something during COVID, I thought that's my specialty. I can do it because I have contacts in the network. The HR people are there. They say, hey, Sam, give us right people, give us right people. Every day I can't give them. Today, Wipro has opened up 13,000, 15,000 jobs for UG people for the final years. Today, all online. So as soon as I got it, spread it out, go to people, give it to colleges, let them get it. What is wrong? There's nothing wrong if you can do something better for people to live. All right. So if you can do those kind of things, we can share. Still, there are jobs, because the whole conference is on employability, upskilling, and your stuff. Can you see there, Dr. Martina? Anybody on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Can
It
you
is
read
visible,
that?
sir.
Wipro
Yes,
announced
sir.
the launch of digital workspace.
Yes,
Right?
sir. Yes, sir.
2020, BBA, BCom, BSc. All right. There are jobs today. Stipend of
Mr. Sam,
15,000. Yeah.
can I make a suggestion there, if it's
Sure.
okay?
Yeah. Well,
It's an excellent work, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Please share this link with me. I'm happy to post it in my LinkedIn and the social media. Let's spread it as a viral. But I also see an opportunity on this one. You know, you called it out on that. One is have that, able to spread the jobs and everything. The other one is people can even give them some kind of a coaching, how to attend the interview through the Zoom.
Very important. Very important.
Zoom is very difficult. And, maybe if I'm sure that most of you or almost everyone now familiar with the Zoom, there are some small tips you can give it to them. You know, the one thing you see at the back behind my screen, you see some of those books.
yes.
And, you might laugh at me, but it has always been there. But it's my son who said to me, Appa, don't keep the book like this. Keep it.
Keep it.
But gone back this way. But that's a interesting skill for people to be thought out, because people are not aware of it. So these are small tips what we can run it. You can create somebody who is familiar, who can do multiple Zooms. You can put it in your Facebook, or you can put it in your LinkedIn profile, that I'm happy to do a 30-minute how to do Zoom for you to get familiar with the interview. Because trust me, for the next 1 or 2 years, the interviews are going to take place only in Zoom. So maybe that's one skill set what you can do. And that goes back to the contribution or difference what you're making back. And just the last one, which is something which I was listening to a podcast, which really resonated very well, is, something which I would like to share it is also just we can look back to create, look at how we can look at, that goes back to my earlier book about, obstacle is the way. How do we come out of this adversity? Is just imagine 20 years down the line, we are sitting with our grandchildren or great grandchildren, and we talk about the grandchildren is turning back and asking, hey, We heard that there was a 2020, there was a pandemic and what it went through. While we are talking about all the misery and suffering where we went through, and I'm sure that each one of us would like to talk about some amazing things what we did and how we overcome that. And that's something we would like to leave back. So if we could start thinking about in 20 years down the line, what is that I want to see myself, then we can slowly look backwards and see how we can able to make a difference. Thanks.
That's fantastic.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. So Dr. Martina, what Ganesh Ram sir is saying is about digital footprint,
Yes.
digital resumes, which we discussed on the day one. I hope I covered that on day one, right?
Yes.
How colleges should get on digital resumes, online resumes. Thank you so much, Ganesh sir. Over to you, madam.
Yes.
And I see a question on the chat.
Yes,
If
chat
it's okay,
box.
can I answer that question? It's a very
Please,
interesting question.
Please, please.
Please.
Yeah. So it's a question from someone called Martin L
Bhoompag.
Bhoompag. Yeah, thank you. So can you make a pitch on the difference between mentoring and coaching, and which one to choose if you had to pick one out of them? It's a very interesting question. It's a very thin line between a mentoring and a coaching. The way I would say is the mentoring is something based on your experience. You are helping others to move forward. You are telling them what I did, how it worked, what is it. That's what you are mentoring on, because you have that experience. You are mentoring them to do it. The coaching is completely different. The coaching is about helping them to find their own pathways, helping them when they don't know where they want to go. You are going through that. You don't give them solutions. You don't give them kind of decisions. You are hearing them and you are reflecting back. You are more as a sounding board. So that's the coaching. So those are the two different pieces of learning aspect. When it's the right time, which one to choose, I think it's up to the individual. You could have a coach. You can also have a mentor. But this is from my example, what I've learned. I don't want my mentor and the coach to be the same person, because then there is no boundary. Then we kind of cross each other. So as long as if you are able to differentiate the difference, I think that's the perfect one. Yeah.
Yes, I just put it there so that people can.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's well written by the people. So it's that format in terms of how do you do that one. So the coaching is, the 2 points which is interesting is the fourth one, where a mentor recommends what you should be doing it, whereas the coaching says to find your own solutions and able to follow through that one. So that's the kind of a big difference. And in the coaching piece, which is interesting, is able to increase the self-awareness. How do you work on your self-awareness? How do you go a little bit more deeper on it? It's also good to have, from my experience, I have got mentors. I also have coaches. I also do mentoring. I also do coaching. So I do both. But it depends on what stage you are in. When do you need a coach? When do you need a mentor? And that's the part which you need to define it. One other thing which I want to say to you, that you could have several mentors, and what they're calling it as a micro mentor, which is a very popular concept. It's something which I'm trying to work on, is eventually, maybe in a year or two, I will be able to conceptualize it, is the concept of, one can have multiple mentors helping them on different pieces. It doesn't have to be one person. So how do you create a global pool of mentors who can help you with that one? And the same thing is applicable even for coaching. You could have a council of coaches who can help you on different aspect of it, so that you are not relying on just one person. I hope that's helpful and that's clear a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And also, just to add on that one, I think it's important piece which is important is to, when you start the coaching or a mentoring conversation, if you could clear your boundaries, what is the expectation?
Yeah.
What are we trying to do? And how long is the journey? Whenever I have had my mentor, I have agreed that I want to do 4 conversations over a period of 6 months. That's it. Because I need my time. Because you don't want to be overloaded. The same thing with the coaching. I have a coach. I do have a coach right now, but I speak to my coach once in 2 months, not every week or every day, because I feel like I need the time in terms of what we are discussing to reflect back, work on it so that I'm able to take it through. So that makes it clear in terms of what it is. One other thing, what I would give you a tip is always interview both the mentor and the coach. It's really, really important because it's about your personal journey. Just don't think that because Mr. Samuel or Martina or Ganesh is saying, they are saying that Ganesh is a really a good person. We have seen him. He's living in Geneva. He's living in Switzerland. He has been to 63 countries. Ganesh will be a good mentor for Maria Monica, who's attending this conference. That's wrong. Actually, Maria Monica needs to speak to me and explain what she is looking for and see whether is it what I want to provide it. It's both ways. It's like a contractual relationship. It could happen that sometimes the personalities, the experience might not match. It's absolutely fine. And it's good to agree on it at the beginning to turn in. Or what could happen is you do the first two conversation, then you will realize that somewhere the chemistry is not working. Maybe you want to part ways, because it's equally important for both the parties to know what they are getting in. It's a time commitment, it's a journey, and it's one's life, and you need to take control of it. Thank you.
True. So can I just add on, Mr. Ganesh, coaching, right? Maybe 18, 20 years back when I was studying, I also wondered like, wow, people say they're a coach, Marshall Goldsmith coach, Jim Collins coach, Stephen Covey coaching. But I just want to tell all audience, a coach never plays the game. A coach makes the player play the game and win the game. That's why they say cricket coach, football coach, EFL coach. Coach doesn't go to the ground and play. Bahar rehta, the tension. Did you ever see a soccer? Did you ever see European League, Champions League? You should see the coach. They are more mad than people, but they can never get inside because they also have a boundary. They have to be within that box and do whatever they want to do, but make players play. So if you want to be a coach, we need to come to that level that we have achieved something that we can give that expertise, because the coach never plays. For example, when I was given the digital education coach certificate and all this stuff, people said, hey, why don't you be a coach? Because you're setting up so many things for so many organizations. Now, during pandemic, I'm coaching 17 people all over India. I started it at March end, and April, I took a decision. By June, I'll make all the 17 people resource persons, because they were participants like you. All right. And one person is right there in this audience, is Santosh. From a participant, all right, I'm coaching him to become a speaker. Like that, 17 people all over India, but it takes time. It takes like every week, every day, work. But a coach never thinks of credit. A coach thinks that, hey, others play the game. My students will play this game of skills. My students will get the job, and their life should be empowered. And I'm always there. But you can never be a coach unless you're not an expertise. Rahul Dravid became coach because he's an expertise. Anil Kumble became coach because he's an expertise in one area. So that's where the coach is, and mentoring is, we can just do it, as and when, because people look up to you. So I hope, Dr. Ganesh, I was clear to the audience that coaching is really important, and let's take it and face it, right? Because coach never plays the game.
But I really like it. What you just said. I think that's a very important point. They have the boundary and they let others play. But it's also important, before you become a coach, if you're taking it, you need to do a lot of self-reflection.
True.
To really look at your self-awareness. As Mr. Samuel said, you have the boundary. You have a tendency to cross it. It's about the person, what they wanted to do. If Rahul Dravid can only do so much, and he can bring the players to the ground, he can make them do the regime, he can do everything. But then the person who needs to win that final is those 11 players who are in the ground. That is where it ends. So as I said, on the football, people can just go that mad and that mad, but it's just important. But as equally, one of the greatest skills, which I'm trying to work on it, because that I feel like because I've been asked by a couple of people, they wanted me to coach them. And I had said to them, the current state of mind, I'm not there. Give me 6 months time. I'm ready to speak to you. As you just said, it's also equally important that you are at Zen, you are able to balance emotion, you are able to provide it. And I will say why it is important is my son is a tennis player, and I have been one of those parents taking him from one match to the another match, waking up in the morning, making him do the fitness, do everything. And I was one of those crazy parents who want my son to win every match as he plays. I used to get into that mode. And then there was a point where I realized, and there is a book which I read, it's called Chimp Paradox. It's like, we are all chimpanzee. We all have that monkey mindset in us. And what we emit is what comes out of it. The monkey, if you go to a monkey and you do this, the monkey will do the same thing. And it's the same thing. As a coach, you have a boundary and you need to behave it. I learned it when my son used to play matches. Every time he wins a point or when he loses a point, he will turn and look at me to get to know what my reaction is. And I've always been, right from the day I realized that I am having an influence on his game and I'm turning into some kind of a coach to him, I used to be quiet. I will not speak. I will not react. I will not smile. I will just do this one. The moment I do this, I could see his body language goes down. So it's about your self-awareness, is about how you present yourself and how you are able to do it. John, the famous one I look up for me is an amazing one, is Gary Kristen, the man who helped India to win the World Cup. You must have seen it on the television screen. His composure, his body language, he was unbelievably calm and composed. But God knows within himself what has been running through. The same thing with MS Dhoni. He is Captain Cool. Everybody talks about it. But within his mind, have you ever seen him losing his mind or able to show it? But that's the part which we are talking about as a part of the journey of a coach. Thank you.
Good. Dr. Martina, can we request all the participants to watch a very good movie called Moneyball? Moneyball is an amazing true story. It was released in 2012. If I'm not wrong, Brad Pitt is a key hanger. It's a true story of a baseball coach, how he used analytics, how he used the data of the player, of the opponent player, taught the players to use data and win the game and became a multi-billion business. Now, anybody in the US who plays baseball coaches, they ensure that they see this movie called Moneyball. All right, it's a 2012, but I request, because when we teach business analytics in our university in VIT, that's the first movie to be seen completely and then come to the class. It's a fantastic movie of a coach, the role of a coach.
So there is another movie, Mr. Samuel. This is coaching plus leadership.
Wow.
The movie called Invictus. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman, Nelson Mandela.
Yep, all of them.
Yeah, and if you have watched it, it's an unbelievable movie. I've watched it 3 or 4 times, and Nelson Mandela, Morgan Freeman, plays it so beautifully. He was a coach to the captain of South Africa Proteas to win the Rugby World Cup. Yeah, he was the man behind. Yeah, that shake hand. When you look at that shake hand, that's the message. If you go down to the screen, look at the shake hand, how he does it. And that's the message of giving him the full confidence. There are moments in the game, you can look into it. So when you have time, you can look at a particular clip, which is very powerful on all aspects of leadership, is when Mandela becomes the president and he invites Matt Damon to his office to talk to him about the rugby. And it's the first time he's coming from an apartheid. His first time meeting a president. He walks into the room and he doesn't know how Nelson Mandela reacts. There's a body language. He's an African, he's a black. And as he walks in, the way Mandela greets his secretary, who is the white South African, how he makes him sit down. And then he says, "Can I make a tea for you?" And he says, "No, I will make the tea for him." And these are leadership commands where he stands up to him and say, "I am telling you, and this is important. What is important? Why it is important?" And the moment he prepares the tea, and then when he gives the tea to the hand to Matt Damon, he holds it for a second. He doesn't just let it go. And that moment is an amazing moment to watch it. And
Can we just play that?
What is your philosophy on leadership? How do you inspire your team to do their best?
By example. I've always thought to lead by example, sir.
But that is right. That is exactly right. But how to get them to be better than they think they can be? That is very difficult, I find. Inspiration, perhaps. How do we inspire ourselves to greatness when nothing less will do? How do we inspire everyone around us? I sometimes think it is by using the work of others. On Robben Island, when things got very bad, I found inspiration.
Good. So, sir, do you want any of the clipping to be played? This one on the top, short 1 minute. Anyone or?
Yeah, please. I think there is a scene. I think that particular scene is a good one.
The one which you're playing now, the same thing?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that's
okay.
It just starts a little bit before that one. But I would just say, watch the body language and the tone.
We'll just play it. It's 1 minute, so it's amazing. Can I, with your permission?
Yeah, please.
A poem. A Victorian poem. Just words. But they helped me to stand when all I wanted to do was to lie down. But you didn't come all this way to hear an old man talk about things that make no sense.
No, please, Mr. President. It makes complete sense to me. On the day of a big match, say a test, in the bus on the way to the stadium, nobody talks.
Samuel, sir.
Sir, no sound, sir.
I think, Mr. Samuel, I think that's audio is having some challenges there. But I think what I would say is you can look at this link once again. And this particular clip, you can see how, and this kind of answers some of the question what I'm seeing around, how the coach can play a role and where you draw the boundaries, how do we inspire others. You will see just before this video clip, he will be making a tea and then he will go and sit on the opposite end where he's telling him what to do. There he was kind of querying, what's your direction? Where are you trying to go? With his legs folded and drinking a tea. And as he sees the captain opening up and sharing his difficulty, you see he gets up from his seat, sitting opposite to him. He comes closer to him. He makes him feel, I am with you on this journey and I would like you to do this. And as you finish this YouTube clip, you can go back and listen to it when you have time. And Matt Damon walks back. He doesn't say anything. He just wishes him, gives him the hand, and he leaves. And as Matt Damon walks back, his girlfriend asks him, hey, what did he say? And he just says, he wants us to win. He wants South Africa to win. And that's the message. So it's that silent speaks. Sometimes they say that silence speaks more than the words, that kind of the space. And those moments is kind of something is really powerful. And I'm sure that, you can, these are leadership you can see in every, different stories, different books and different one, but it's something you can admire it and see how do you deal with it, what do you deal with it? And, for me, my leaderships always comes from my working with my son and with my wife and my daughter. That's the best playing field. You can learn things. There are days where I can sit on the one side of the house and I can shout at him and say do this. But there are days where That's not going to go. That I just go sit next to him, look at him eye to eye, a couple of words that'll go miles happening. So it's kind of like, no, it's the same thing whether you are a manager, whether you are a leader, whether you are a student. It's about when do we do what and how do we do. And I know that I'm moving a little bit away from the topic what is being given, but there is a very famous one which came out of the Kovi concept, which came in. It's the sound, music, dance. When you speak, it's the three has to come together. I think in Tamil, there is a word they say, Natyam, what is it? There is a word, I'm missing it one. They say dance, music, sound. It's the same thing, it has to come together. And that communicates the message for you and how you are able to do it, and you are able to communicate things forward. So that's the piece which helps you to inspire, which helps you to become a mentor, and which helps you to become a coach. And it's an evolution process. It takes time, and it's about going through. But I'm just looking at another comment which has question come from Vidyasagar Kumar. Why people do not want to become a mentor for each other, even me? Why we the people has failed to overcome this narrow-mindedness to ignore others for becoming mentor? I would say it's a little bit of a harsh one. I don't think you or anybody should say that it's a narrow-mindedness or anything. I would say it's the fear of self-confidence, the fear of doing something wrong. It's about those baby steps, and which is also like what Mr. Samuel said. It's always that is for you when you do the first step. Like look at when a child, when it gets up, it takes time. There is a fear that the child might fall down, or what could happen, or somebody will start. So it's that is the starting journey, and it's an experience. I would just say let it go. Feel it, try it, give a shot. There is nothing wrong. Maybe start that from your person whom you are close to. Start that feeling and maybe write it down, and then you will be able to go through. So it's an experience, and you need to feel the experience. And there is nothing wrong in getting wrong. There is nothing wrong in somebody turning around saying that, what, you're not a good mentor. Fine. The thing what I would say is when you get a feedback, what you need to do, you need to go home, think back why that person made the statement. What is that aspect which I have not thought through? Where do I build myself, and how do we get up? I think that's a secret for everybody.
Wow. Good.
I spoke a lot. Maybe a couple of more questions before I say thank you to all of you.
Yes. Hello. John Samuel sir. Sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we are there.
Yeah. Ganesh sir, many thanks to you. Right, I'll get back to you. Like Samuel sir, anything to share or any other?
Sir is giving time for anybody else to ask questions. So
Sure. Because I couldn't hear. Okay.
Yeah, any one or two. Ganesh sir said if any one or two you want to have a question, you have the access to unmute, and please, such a great time to have Mr. Ganesh sir. So.
Thank you, Samuel sir. I have a question. Hello, Ganesh sir.
Yeah, somebody is speaking. Can you be a little bit loud?
Deepak Goswami sir, can you be a little louder? Deepak sir.
Am I audible?
Hanji.
Okay. Hello, Ganesh sir. Thank you. Hello, Samuel sir. Actually, sir, my question is followed by my comment, which is to both of you, Samuel sir, to you as well as Ganesh sir, for you to answer. Actually, being a research scholar, we generally we have heard a word like think out of the box, do out of the box. Many teachers, many professors, mentors, they generally say this. But me being bit harsh on our education system and bit critique, we as a student from day one of our school to till the research we did, they put us in a box of curriculum, syllabus, beliefs, teaching methodology, which is called pedagogy, and all those things. And at the end of the day, they told us that do out of the box, think out of the box. So my question here is, first of all, the teachers, first of all, they have to change their teaching. First of all, they have to teach out of the box, out of the syllabus to the children, and then tell them to think out of the box. That means my question is, first of all, first we have to change, break those balls, break that box, and then tell our students to think out of the box. So my question is, what teachers and the research scholars do to teach out of the box so that the students can think out of the box? Thank you.
Yeah, Ganesh, sir, you take the call.
Okay. Example.
Because मैं शुरू करूँ पूरा दिन लग जाएगा भैया.
नहीं ठीक है, मैं शुरू करता हूँ, आप फॉलो कीजिए. ये सवाल 2 मिनट में और 5 मिनट में खत्म नहीं होगा. इसके लिए
But it's a very good question by Deepak sir. Very good question.
It's a very good question, yeah. By the way, actually, it's an excellent question. You know, to be honest, I would say that my first, you have got the answer in your own question. You asking this question itself, you are breaking the norm. You are breaking the paradox. You are challenging. I think this is the starting point. I think it's important, as Mr. Samuel said at the beginning, there are two ways. One is bottom-up approach, one is a top approach. Either you kick or you start. So you have kicked here, and the question is, how do we keep the momentum going? So it goes in both ways. There isn't any one size perfect all, but the question of how can we, there are a couple of things which I can look into it. And this is something maybe slowly your institution can start doing it. The KPI, the key performance indicator of every teacher or every year should also include 5% or 10% what they have done differently than getting them 100% marks in their syllabus. If a class teacher of an year 10 or a professor of the particular subject, they should be accountable to start the change happen. They should be accountable to notice that what have they done outside of the course syllabus, and that should be their measurement of success. That should be the success beyond that one. I think that's where the change will start bringing in. That's number one. Number two, there should be more importance even from the people as a student, as a research scholar, as Deepak you said, you should be, everyone should be able to change around and say, in our one day, every week we spend 5 days class, maybe in the 2 hours of our Friday, we should do something different. Maybe you should put a wall of magic in your college, or a wall of one, where people put some creative ideas, what you wanted to do. And then you come up that those 2 hours, the topic of the discussion will be on that one. I don't know whether it is still in practice in India. I remember when I studied in India, in Madras, every day during our assembly, each year student, we have to come up with some interesting examples and news and read it to the overall assembly. That's how it goes, like rotation. And we need to do that. It's a mandatory. Those days we didn't have internet. The only source we used to get it is the Doordarshan news, which we'll get it on at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. That's the only news we get it. 9 o'clock, the Doordarshan is shut down. So I remember sitting down on a Friday night, because on Friday, those days in Doordarshan, there used to be a program called The World This Week. That was the first program started by NDTV, by Pranav Roy. Today, they are multi-billionaires. Their channel is very popular. But it was Pranav Roy who used to run the program every fortnight on a Friday night at 11 o'clock. They will telecast this program called World This Week. And I used to sit down and make a note of what are the international topics coming in, so that Monday morning when I go back to the school, I'm able to talk about it and we are able to expand around it. And that is how I remember my teacher, my head teacher used to inspire us to think about something different. And that's the way how you do it. Now you've got internet, now you've got so many things. So maybe we need to go a little bit inversely to think about, the one way to look at it is, if you are in a college, you may want to think about what is happening in your community. Every week, somebody talks about what are the problems in a community or what good positive change has taken in a community. that could be the starting point to have that conversation. And from there, you bring out the entrepreneurial thinking. From there, you think about the, the topic of discussion. From there, you can go up in terms of how we want to expand it. But it's a change that needs to take place. And you also need to guide them with some examples. I'll leave it there. Maybe Mr. Samuel, you can take on from me.
Good, good, good. Wonderfully captured, Ganesh sir. Mr. Deepak, could you just come online with me? I just need to have a dialogue with you. Is it
Yes,
okay?
yes, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So Deepak sir, you are a research scholar. Yes. No? Quick
Yes,
question.
yes,
Quick question.
yes.
You're a research scholar. Okay.
Yes.
My quick question and quick answer.
Yeah.
When was the last time you did something new for the first time in your research? When was the last time you did something new for the first time in your life? When was the last time you did something new for the first time in your teaching? When was the last time you did something new for the first time in your family?
Can't remember.
Yeah, now you see, brain is stuck
That
because,
is what, yes.
yeah, now the question, I'm coming to the question. In the box, the classrooms are built like a box, dabba.
Yes.
Schools, college is like a dabba. Everything is like a box. And we teach inside the box, but we say out of the box thinking. Just because some foreign author has written a crazy word, we become like that. Now, please understand, Mr. Deepak sir, and to all of you, I can talk to you from my answer. Can I tell you my application of this answer in my university at VIT? In VIT University, the School of Business, the Vice Chancellor and all of us took a conscious decision in the year 2013. Every week, if I have a course of 3 credit hours, 2 hours will be in the class, 1 hour will be outside the class, which is called Woodstock. It's a huge land. The classes have to be out under the trees, under the place, in the market, or we go to the early farmers market, or we go to the Bazaar street, we go to the street, and that's where the class happens. We took this conscious decision because learning happens there. So that is little bit what we're doing out of the box. You can go to my Facebook, you can go to Instagram. Right now, type Samuel Johnson OBT, outbound training. You can see hell a lot of things. I talk because we do. Now that made us thinking, hey, this is something which we have to do because students can't be inside the box and say them think out of the box. So if your institution can take up some policy, but my dear sir, Deepak sir, and all of you, we need to have that passion to do things, because it's very easy to tell about inside the box, outside the box as a theory, but we had to have a system. Can we take our students a little away? All right. If I'm teaching rural marketing, my classes on rural marketing every Saturday morning was in the market. Chalo Niklo, come to the market early morning, 5:30. Then you tell me, क्यों टमाटर इतना बिक रहा है उसके बाद? Then evening we go to the mall. ये उधर टमाटर 25 रुपए चल रहा है, ये 10 रुपए में दे रहा है. दोनों का कहाँ से आ रहा है? Where is the source coming from? Where is the supply chain coming from? Then you come to the class, then let's discuss. If our students can have this kind of learning, which is out of the box, all right, industry will not select them, industry will buy them. And I have huge testimonies of my students saying, sir, thank you so much. मेरे को तो industry छोड़ रहा नहीं अभी. All right, I want to leave the company, go, but they're not leaving. They're giving more hike, because of practical learning. So, Deepak sir, always put this question to all of you. I put this question to myself. When was the last time I did something new for the first time in my academics?
Samuel sir, sorry to disturb you. I think I missed a few of your points as my internet connection knows that it's my turn. So it's
okay. Now Deepak sir, for every problem there is a probable solution. The problem for your technical solution is it's already been on live on the YouTube. आप बाद में rewind करो, जितना rewind करना है घुसे सुनो. No problem. Yeah, Ganesh sir, you're about to say something.
No, I was just about to say that I'm conscious of the time. I have to drop off. I have a meeting in another 10 minutes time. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of you for having me join this session, and hope you feel I was able to contribute some of my experiences to all of you, able to learn from all of you. And I really, you kind of brought that spark in me about going to a vegetable market, buying the tomato, and then going to and everything. That's absolutely fantastic. I think that's the big difference, because you can do everything sitting in a classroom, but what you learn in the primary fields is absolutely brilliant. If you don't mind, I think my daughter is here. I think she's been quiet for the last 2 hours. Said hello to everybody. I think
Where is she?
Oh,
say hello.
beauty. Oh, beauty. How are you?
Good evening. Say hi.
So
What's your
sweet.
name? What's your name? పేరు చెప్పు.
Ananya.
Tamil పేరు என்னమ్మా?
అనన్య. మార్చిన మ్యామ్ తమిళ అంటే మీరే అడగాలి.
అదే. ఓ బేబీ, వాట్ పేరు என்னమ్మా? உங்க பேரு?
Ananya, London English பேசுறியா தமிழ்ல இந்தியன் இங்கிலீஷ் பேசுறியாமா?
Indian English.
Okay,
So
okay.
sweet.
You
Yeah,
speak
beautiful.
English, Indian English or British English?
British.
Yeah, good. Maybe she's
Very
waiting for her
good.
papa to finish fast and
Yes.
Good.
Vandana ma'am. Vandana ma'am,
Yes.
may
Thank you
you
so
start
much.
proposing vote of thanks. Sir, just a second, not even half a minute. Yeah. It's
Okay.
formal.
Rani ma'am,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
request Rani ma'am to
Yes,
please
ma'am.
propose the vote of thanks for this wonderful session by Ganesh Garu.
Yes, ma'am.
Over to Rani.
Yes, ma'am. A very good evening to you, sir, and all the participants. I'm Dr. Rani Gujjari, Assistant Professor, St. Joseph's Degree and PG College. Today, I would like to express my gratitude to Mr. Ganesh Ramachandran for addressing our Day 3 of 1 Week International E-Symposia on Unleashing the Potential, Skills and Employability. Thank you, sir, for sharing with us your 20-year larger-than-life experiences. Your career journey has been a great experiential learning for us today. Identifying the purpose of life is not easy for everyone, but through this book, Ikigai, and your session today, we'll definitely be helping many students to find their life purpose and also will be in search of our purpose. Again, turning the trials into triumph is not an easy task to achieve. We'll definitely look forward to reading the book The Obstacle is the Way, and it is the need of the hour right now in the current COVID scenario, and we will convert our tryouts to successes. Your extensive insights in social innovation in Afghanistan and Kenya are great takeaways today, sir. The social innovation techniques like design thinking, bootcamp, and hackathons are really interesting concepts which we have come across today, and we look forward to learning and implementing them through our college. Thank you, sir, for answering our numerous queries and enlightening us today on social skills and social innovation. It was a great session with lots of relevant practical examples with regards to mentoring versus coaching. We look forward for the continuous support from you in our future endeavors. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rani ma'am.
Ganesh sir, this is the book which changed my life.
Yes.
Ikigai. This is the book. And if you see inside, it's a bloodshed. That much reading.
You know,
So
I'm seeing
thank
another
you.
person who has gone through the journey.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
even Ganesha, even
Oh,
I
you've
have
got
this
it.
book.
See,
Even I
yeah,
have this book.
maybe you should have showed it earlier. Then maybe I could have called you to talk about it.
Yeah,
So
thank
these
you.
are our Ikigai moments. You know, this
Yeah.
is the whole Ikigai moment. The last 2 hours is that Ikigai moment of, feeling it's the purpose and able to lead a life. I think that's the
Thank you,
beauty of
sir.
it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Martina, for
Thank
getting
you
in touch
so
with
much.
me.
Thank
And
you.
also,
Sure.
our daughter is also on the call. Thanks, Monica, for putting me in touch. She is a great, special person for us in our organization. It's amazing. So thanks to everyone, and looking forward to be in touch, and hope the rest of the week goes well. And I'm sure that we will have an opportunity to see in person one day as we come out of this pandemic together. Thank you.
Thank you,
sir.
thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Really, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Martina ma'am, bye.
Ma'am, yeah.
Are we done
Right.
for the day?
Still
What do you
anything,
say, sir?
Martina ma'am?
Are we done for the day?
Ma'am.
Or
Yes.
anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
all the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
all. Good night.
Bye, bye, bye. Good night. Have a
Be safe. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Right.
yes.
Thank you.
Samuel sir, time irka?
Yeah, tell me, ma'am.
Illa, just like that.